Welcome to the Backwoods University, everybody. I'm glad you stopped by today. Today's lesson is going to be on the bow and arrow. It's going to be class number 4 on the bow and arrow. In the previous class, we learned about bows and arrows. Then we had a couple classes out on the practice range, working on drawing the bow and releasing the arrow. And this class here is going to be a little bit different. This class here is going to be about the mental aspect of shooting a bow and arrow. I'd like to start out with some examples of what I'm talking about, the mental aspects of archery. Let's start out with the most obvious one, and that's an archer having a fear of missing. Your mind's playing games with you. You step up to the target, and what's going on in your mind is, I hope I don't miss this target. I hope I don't lose my beautiful footed, nicely crested arrow that my buddy made for me, and boy, if I miss it, I'm going to lose that arrow, and I'm going to be very unhappy. So try to clear your mind of those thoughts, and if it helps, instead of shooting that beautiful arrow that your buddy gifted you, and you don't want to lose, try shooting a plain Jane arrow, something that you don't mind missing. I found several times that I'll have an old beat up arrow, and boy oh boy, I don't care if I miss and lose the arrow, but I can't miss with that arrow. Why? Because my mind has taken that out of the equation. My mind says, I'm just shooting an old plain Jane arrow. If I miss, it's no big deal. If I lose my arrow down in the grass or snow. So it's just something to think about, is to get that fear of missing out of your head. It's not easy. It's not easy. But that's an example of how your mind is playing games with you, and how it can affect the way you're shooting your bow. Example of how your mind can play games with you regarding archery is a lack of confidence. It kind of ties in with, I don't want to lose my arrow, but a lack of confidence. Let me give you an example of that. I used to shoot with a group of folks on a fairly regular basis, and the group was made up of some very good archers and some beginner archers, and one of the beginner archers was struggling. They were out shooting with us, and they were not shooting well. They hadn't given themselves enough time to really learn to shoot a bow, and it was playing mind games with them, and they were trying to micro-analyze everything and overthink the process. At that time, what we were doing was we were shooting 3D targets, and we were scoring, if the arrow hit the vitals, it was a +1. If it hit outside of the vitals, it was a -1. And if you missed the target, it was a 0. So this person, great person, trying really hard to shoot well, but consistently was coming up with scores that were not all that great. So I'm the scorekeeper, and I'm keeping scores, and the scores really didn't matter. It was all just for fun anyways. So one morning when we were shooting, if this person hit the target, I put it down as a 1. I eliminated a lot of the minuses, and At the end of our shoot that day, we're all back looking at the scorecards, and that person who in previous weeks was getting more and more discouraged looked at their scorecard expecting to see a crummy score, and they saw a pretty good score. And they said, well, I didn't shoot that good. I go, yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You shot that well. You just probably don't remember. Well, from that point on, that person had more confidence, and just that one act of helping them build that confidence, they started shooting better and better and better. It was like the light switch was turned on. So you got to work on building that confidence. You have to look at the good shots and forget about the bad shots, and just keep looking at the positive and build up that confidence. Regarding confidence, your confidence in how you shoot a bow, and the mental game behind that, here's a tip. Whenever you end a practice session, whenever you end a, you're out practicing on the range, 3Ds, out stump shooting, whatever, make sure you end with a positive, good shot. In other words, the last shot that you take that day, even if it takes you a few shots to get to that point, make sure that it's a well-placed arrow and that you're happy with it. Because subconsciously, I think that sticks in our mind. So for the next session that you go out practicing, you'll go, probably subconscious, you'll say, boy, the last time I shot well. You'll forget about all the misses. Just remember the last arrow, the last good arrow that you shot in your last session. You'll hear the term pick a spot. And what that refers to is, instead of looking at the whole target, the whole animal, the whole paper target, whatever, you're just focusing on the spot where you want your arrow to go. So you're just picking out one small area that you can focus on, and that's called picking a spot. And for example, here we've got a turkey target, okay? So instead of going up to that target and focusing on the whole circle, the whole turkey, instead you pick a spot. You pick the feather right here, and that's or wherever you want that arrow to hit. And that is the point in which you focus on. You try to eliminate everything else from your mind, and all you're thinking about doing is hitting that one spot. The one spot that you want to play tricks with you is when you're shooting with others. Most of us, we all want to look good in front of our friends, our peers. We all want to shoot really good when we're around others. We want everybody to think, hey, that guy's a great shot, or that guy sure can shoot his bow. And that's natural. I mean, that's natural. We all, I think we all do, at least, or most of us do. The truth of the matter is, and again, this is my opinion, there's always someone that disagrees, or someone who doesn't fit what I'm about to say, but the truth is, most of us more than likely shoot better when we shoot alone, because we take that thought out of our mind. Boy, I hope I don't blow this shot, because my friends are hanging around and I don't want them to think I'm a lousy archery shot. So you're probably going to shoot better by yourself. Now, we don't want to shoot by ourselves all the time. We want to have some friends, and we want to go out on the range and enjoy each other's company. So keep this in mind here. Keep this in mind, that when you're shooting with a group of people, more than likely, even though these people are your friends and they care about you, they really don't care if you're shooting well or not. They love it when you're shooting well, but they're more worried about how they're shooting. So try to keep that out of your mind. Just worry about your shot, your things, and don't worry what other people think. Everybody's at a different level in their archery journey. Some of us have shot for a long time. Some of us are shot for a short time. Some of us are just naturally better at it. Some of us really have to work hard at it. Some of us it comes easy to. So just keep in mind that each of us is an individual, and the only person that you have to satisfy is yourself. If you're happy with your progress, then that's all that matters. Don't worry about what other people think. It's not important. What is important is how you feel about. Funny story. The hat I'm wearing today is a hat that I got back several years ago at a big archery shoot, and I was in what they call the Eagle Eye competition, and what it was different rounds of competition, and you're shooting at a small fluorescent red dot, and those that hit the dot progress to the next round, and eventually it's just eliminated down to the final winner. Well, I had qualified, and I I arrived at the shoot, and you're circled by a large group of people, a very lot of people. And when I talk about shooting in front of others, this is the example that I like to tell people. Well, I got up there and I'm standing, it's my turn to shoot, and I'm standing in front of all these people. I mean, all these people are watching me. And I got up there and, oh boy, well, I don't even remember the shot. To tell you the truth, I was so nervous, so worried of what all these other people were going to think. I don't even remember pulling the string back. I don't remember releasing the arrow. And I was so happy. It's one of the only times in my life that I was happy that I missed that little round dot so that I could then be eliminated from the competition. So what I'm trying to say is it's natural to be nervous in front of others, especially others that you don't know, that aren't close friends. So it's not uncommon. So just keep that in mind, that you're not alone. Everybody, or most everybody, probably, whether they show it or not, feels the same as you do. Let's say you're having a really crummy day. I'm not talking about on the archery range. I'm talking just in general. Everything's going wrong. You get a flat tire on your way into work. The boss hollered at you. Everything you touched that day didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Whatever. The whole day was not good. Okay? We all have those days. At least I think most of us have days like that. That may not be the best day to go out and practice with your bow and arrow. As relaxing as shooting a bow and arrow is, if you're having a bad day and your mind is cluttered with negative thoughts and everything, at the very least, try to clear your mind of all those negative thoughts before you go out and shoot your bow. Because it will affect you, or it affects most people. If they're having a crummy one of those days where everything's going wrong, you're going to go out there and then you're going to just frustrate yourself further. So at the very least, try to clear your mind before you go out and shoot. or perhaps maybe just shoot another day when you're having a better day. Another thing that I would like everybody to think about and to remember is this journey in shooting the bow is not going to happen overnight for most of us. It's going to take a long time. You're going to see gradual progress. You're going to start improving, but it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to, at least most people, I guess there's some that probably do, but most people are not going to pick up a bow and a half an hour later be shooting great. It's just not going to happen. Not with the type of equipment we're talking about in this series. So be realistic. You can be optimistic about your progress. You can be positive and think, I'm going to keep improving. However, be realistic and have realistic expectations of how long it's going to take you in your journey to shoot a bow and arrow. Thank everybody for stopping by the university today. I hope a few of the mental examples and the mental tips that I gave everybody help. Do what works for you. Just because someone says something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. But these are some things that I just wanted to cover with everybody, especially those of you that are just starting out. And before we go, in the last video, our friend John was up on the range, and John's a bow maker, and he had made this Osage bow that I was shooting on the range, and he was talking about the color of it. At the time, I didn't have an example of a freshly made Osage bow. So before we leave today, I brought along now this is the same type of wood, Osage orange, but this one has been exposed to the light, and this one is a much fresher wood. Eventually, the lighter one will darken like this, but I just thought I'd show everybody this example before we left today. So, as always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the videos. Take care till next time. In the next video on shooting the bow and arrow, we've got a guest coming, and he's an excellent shot and an excellent teacher, and he's going to go over some more tips on the range on how to shoot a bow and arrow. So thanks, everybody. Take care.